Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you guys are well. Going to take some questions here after a little introduction on mobility, because I want to ask you, is it a weakness for you? It is for many people. I would say it was for me. I didn't even realize it was a weakness for me until about 45 years old. Um, and that's when everything started to kind of fall apart. Everything kind of start catching up with you after a decade of contact sports, after spec ops training and that job for 8 years, 2 years prior preparing for it while you did contact sports. uh, Injuries that occur during that season or that session, and by 40 they start coming back to you and say, hey, you remember me? So why is it important to start doing mobility and flexibility training when you are young? And why is it absolutely needed when you are older? Because you just do. Um, when you're older, it will just make pain decrease significantly. And that means something whenever you're walking out of a gym and you're actually just doing a little assessment of like, oh, I feel pretty pumped, got my lungs going, heart going, and wait a second, I don't feel any pain right now. That's a powerful moment in a person's day when there's no aches or pains, even small stuff like it's just gone. For the younger guy, the way I've sold adding mobility to their training program and flexibility is I've seen it firsthand improve things like treading, whether it's a scissor kick or egg beater kick, a breaststroke kick. Um, when you put on a pair of fins and your ankles are real tight and your feet and ankles hurt for the first time, largely due to ankle immobility and stiffness, because you definitely, by the time you start swimming with fins regularly and you point your toes, it's going to be it should be completely flat, no bend in the top of the foot of the ankle, completely flat, and look like a ballerina's foot to a degree. I had a sister and my daughter both did um, toe shoe ballet forever, and they had a much more pronounced point than I did, but mine was flat because largely just got used to swimming with fins, and that extra torque on the end of that fin will really hyper stretch that ankle. And you got to get used to it. You got to get your ankles a little more a little more limber in that plane right there. So, multiple reasons other than just your pain is decreased, especially when you're older. There's some science out there, and you can find these things. Are injuries decreased? I know for a fact for the last 10 years since I have been doing more mobility training with not only myself but the folks I coach, is they are seeing fewer injuries when it comes to shin splints or knee tendonitis or hips and lower back issues. Every now and then we get something that pops up and we deal with it, but usually it's a new guy that hasn't really focused enough time on some mobility. But you can see a big difference in your mobility in as little as 2 to 3 weeks. And it doesn't take hours a day to get better at it. We're talking 15, 20 minutes of stretching and moving throughout ranges of motions of the major joints: ankles, knees, hips, put lower back in there, and shoulders. And all of those will definitely be improved by just moving. And just remember this basic saying: motion is lotion. You got to move them, you got to stretch them. Next thing you know, you have range of motion that doesn't hurt, it's not impinged, and you can do things that you thought you were finished doing. Like when I was 45, and I've said this many times, I thought I was done with running. I was in the middle of a running cycle and everything hurt. It literally felt like my hips were bleeding like when I would run. Maybe one of them, not both sides. And it just everything just hurt. It hurt to sleep on it, all of that. And adding that mobility day, taking about a month off of running, that helped. Um, and just doing non-impact cardio, lots of stretching, mobility work. I was running again, for the back end of that running cycle and haven't stopped since. You know, and the difference is I started adding mobility. I could have sworn that I was done running at that point. So there's my 2 cents on mobility and why you need it. And if it's a weakness, you should try to work on it. I still say every time I shoot, you guys might see my mobility day pictures on my Instagram page. Every time I do that, I always say this is a work in progress. I am slowly getting better at this mobility where it doesn't hurt to touch my toes and activities like that. So, all right, we got some questions already. I appreciate you guys asking questions. I'm going to show some CSS videos here real quick as well. This is part of our CSS critique day. All right, so now we got the first question. How do I improve my run from 11 minutes to 9 minutes in the PST? Well, start learning how to run. Like you're close to a 7-minute mile right now, probably like 7:15, somewhere around there. 7:10. My advice is to start practicing 6-minute mile runs. That means your quarter miles are going to be at a minute 30. Your half miles are going to be at 3 minutes. And you're slowly going to muscle memory that pace. So now you can start running that pace. You can handle that pace because you've practiced the conditioning that's required of that. You've practiced the increased speed of your legs and tempo of your stride. And then, you mix in a little bit of different type of running throughout the week. You do a couple of days of what I just mentioned, 8 to 12 quarter miles, 3 to 6 800 meters, not in the same day, maybe one in the other, and work at that goal pace. Minimal rest, like maybe a 100-meter walk in between sets. And then you have a day where you do sprints and hills and stairs and things like that. Make a leg day out of running. You can mix in squats and lunges, start working, air squats, air lunges, start working on your muscle stamina. Because there's two things that are going to give out on you when you run faster, your lungs or your legs. So we got to work both. Um, get winded, push hard, throw some sprints in there, throw some, fartlek type runs, and then take a day where it's a nice, easy cardio. It can be, long, slow distance run, keep your heart rate down. It can be a bike or elliptical or add more swimming. My advice, if you're working on the PST, you should be swimming every day as well. So that in combination with your running is going to be very helpful. But where a lot of people go wrong is they just start doing a high volume amount at this point, and that's okay if you can handle a high volume amount, but most people who are new to running can't. So you may want to just keep your runs a little shorter, a little faster, and work on other methods of cardio to supplement more volume of cardio. So you're biking, you're running, doing brick workouts, and you're throwing in your swim 5, 6 days a week to work on your cardio that way as well. But that's how we do it. Treading water with weight tips. Contractor for Navy EOD. My PST is all right. CSS is decent. Mainly concerned with selection and assessment tasks that can get me cut from like treading. Mobility is tied into treading, but you need to practice treading, not just stretch on land. In fact, if you check out the article about treading and mobility, in fact, it's right here. treading might be a mobility issue. This is what we do. Every swim workout, we do a 10-minute tread before we even start, or a 500-yard swim, depending on what you need to work on the most. So our warm up is vertical swimming or horizontal swimming for 10 minutes. You're either treading water or you're swimming for 10 minutes, just to warm up. And then we do 50-50 swim workouts, but we rest with treading or bottom bouncing, depending on what you need to work on. And let me tell you, after getting winded from swimming, trying to tread is not exactly fun for a minute. Trying to bottom bounce and exhale everything so you can sink down to the bottom, when everything in your body is saying, I need to inhale, doing that, that's another pool skill that you can develop even while you're resting in between normal swim workouts. That is how we make swimming workouts a little harder. And you don't have to do a whole lot of swimming. I mean, I'm looking at maybe, 45 minutes to an hour in the pool and only swimming maybe 2,000, anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 on these days. You're treading significant amount. But that's how you get in shape for treading, right? And with weight, it's the same thing. You're going to have to practice some of those rest sets with weight in your hand. Whether you're doing it with fins or without fins, that's up to you. It's up to your day when you're swimming. We typically do finning on leg days. So when we're finning, we will have a weight over our head and just tread water. And we'll pass it back and forth to or amongst the group. And that works really well. Just to get used to treading. And then we build up to 5-10 minutes worth of one person holding the weight with no hands, in the water. That gets pretty hard, but you build up to it. That's how you get better at it. Every time you go swimming, there should be treading in your swim workout, especially if you know what's coming up in your selection, like treading. I think probably out of everything I see people blow off the most, it is treading, because they say, oh, treading's easy. Well, here's the deal. If you're a little chubby, treading is very easy because you're not treading, you're floating. Okay. You can sit there and just like look like you're kicking a little bit and still be above water. You're probably floating. Then, let me tell you, if you don't know how to tread and you're kind of chunky going in, got a little bit of body fat on you, if you haven't practiced treading with weight, it's night and day, because floaters will typically not be floaters anymore if you put 10 pounds of weight in a brick above their head and they wonder why they can't do it anymore. Well, they don't have 10 pounds of body fat on them, I guess, that's buoyant. So that weight is now causing them to have to learn how to tread. You might have thought you were treading, but you were really just floating. Now, if you're super lean, you know what I'm talking about, because you're sinking every time you're in the water. You have to learn how to tread. So there you go. Does that make sense? I think I might have some treading. I'm not sure if I have treading or underwater stuff. You know what? Let's share some videos. I got some dialed up here. Let me make sure I got them set up for you. I just want to show all these videos. I'm just going to show all these all in one shot, and then I'll get back to answering questions. If you guys have questions about any of these, just send it. Happy to fix that. I got no. I think this says since he went so deep, he's doing underwater stuff. So you guys can see that. I think he goes deep well, just a nice steady glide. That's the way you want to do this. You don't want to be too close to the bottom though, because it's going to alter how you can pull, right? Because you're trying to do basically a double arm pull or breaststroke pull out, but the way he has to do it, it looks like he's doing a jumping jack, which if you think about the muscles used in a jumping jack, it's really just your shoulders. Where if he really learns how to do a pull out, he's going to be using muscles of his lats pulling in, and then his shoulders and his triceps to push that water down behind you, versus this omnidirectional, arm pull that really doesn't get you very well. But, I will say, if you're doing 25s, and like this guy's going Air Force, so he has to get good at, called over under. And the workout they do that's part of a test is you swim 25 under, 25 over, and then you have a minute and a half to do the next one. You got to do 5 of them, and you need to be done with 5 of them by 7 minutes, and or 7.5 minutes. So that's how that works. So work on your breaststroke pull out. Watch a couple of videos on pulling out. Sorry, it sounds weird. Actually kicking off the wall and pulling out of the stroke, and you'll see that they get a really long distance away from the wall just off that first pull. Even if you don't get the opportunity to kick off the wall, that pull out can really set you up for, catching all the momentum you need swimming across the pool. All right, let me share this screen again. All right, so we got a good kick off the wall. Nice. I like the, as you can see, his pullout's very common too. This is what most people do. They do that. See what he's doing there? Arms are straight out to the side like he's doing a jumping jack. And the problem with this is your force vectors start going out first, and then by the time you get your arms to where his are now, you're finally moving forward. Whereas if you get your arms out here, like bending out in front of you forward, you can go out a little bit, but you want to get those arms bent and be in this plane, not this plane, arms straight. Get those arms bent, and I'm pushing with all of this, right? Straight down direction, which is going to put all the force vectors going this way, so I go this way. So yeah, take a look at the pull out, breaststroke pull out, and you'll see guys that are much better at it than I am, that are just super streamlined. That helps. If you get some less baggy shorts, that's going to help as well with this. So all these little flutter kicks probably need to go. I doubt they're helping you. Top arm, bottom arm, kick, one Mississippi, two. Yeah, I got to try to glide a little longer. One Mississippi, two. Yeah, I try to get up to 3. One Mississippi, two Mississippi, pull. So you're already pulling the bottom arm by the time you should be just pulling your top arm, bottom arm, kick. But I will say the timing of the stroke is very good with the top arm, bottom arm, kick. And notice your bottom arm. See that you have a habit of when you pull that bottom arm, you're leading with your elbow. I can't stop it in time. You're leading with your elbow. You do the same thing with the pull out, leading with the elbow, like the underwater swim. When you're leading with the elbow, you're missing out on all of this to pull water, right? So, yeah, another way to do this on a one arm level is the freestyle catch. The freestyle catch is nothing more than a pull out with both arms, right? So Google the term freestyle catch and breaststroke pull out, and you'll see people who are nailing this. All right. So overall, this is good. Glide longer. Let's work on that pull out a little bit. And maybe you might even be a candidate of taking out the pull out, just because you did lose a little momentum as you transitioned out of it. Let's see what we got here. I think I posted this one the other day, but I don't think I shared it with you guys. This is a really good one. So let's see how his pullout looks. And you want to see something really good? He just glides and he skips the pullout. That's another option for you. You know, if you kind of suck at the pullout, take it out. I've seen people get much faster. And you see these shorts? Wear shorts like this, not like the other guy. You know, those baggy shorts just make you slower. Probably up to 20, 25 seconds. I've seen people pick up some speed with that. And now this is just smooth. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. He's got a little bit of a high elbow on that. Maybe somebody will call him out for it, but it's such an easy fix that I don't really worry about it that much. You know, just bring it up under this way instead of this way. You know, that's not what I want you to look at whenever you see a really good swimmer like this doing this in like what 47, 48 seconds. So, you know, maintaining this for 500 is so much easier, you know, when you're getting that extra breath off the wall, and it only takes you about 5 strokes to get across the pool. You know, this is an easy day and it's fast. So, can't beat that. Can't argue with those results. Let me see. I think I have another swim in here. Let's see. Oh, okay. I don't know if I shared this last week or not, but this one's awful. Okay. This one is exhausting. I think I might have shared this one with you or I posted it. Yeah, sorry. It's getting a little bit I get a little bit confused with what I share with you guys and what I post and what I don't share with you guys. So, anyway, this is how you don't want to do it. And when I talk about getting across the pool in 5 strokes or less, notice where he is when he's at 5 strokes. 2, 3, 4, 5. He's not even halfway across the pool. And yes, if you kept counting these, it'd probably be around 14 or 15 strokes to get across the pool. Now, the remarkable thing is this guy's got a cardio engine that's pretty impressive because he's beating up the water right now, taking 15 strokes to get across the pool. And this is the middle of his 500 that I wanted to film him just to see where he was. I haven't seen him since this day, and I really want to fix his stroke and show you like what a little bit of coaching would do for him. But anyway, yeah, he's still got a 10-minute with 15 strokes per length. Now he was exhausted afterwards, and I'm sure if he were to do a full PST like that, it's just going to continue to be just less than optimal, you know, on those calisthenics, because if you do the math on this, that's 10 extra strokes per length for 20 lengths. So he just did 200 extra kicks, 200 extra arm pulls. And if you don't think that affects your pull ups, your push ups, your sit ups, and your run, it does. Plus your energy levels. You probably just burn through some glycogen like nobody's business on that. So, anyway, there's a lot to fix here. I'm not even going into it. We got to work on the glide. Obviously, there's no glide. He pops up his head to breathe. You know, the top arm might look okay. It looks like the kick looks pretty good, but the recovery, look at that recovery. I mean, he's like 6 inches away from his body. He's like 1 step forward, half a step back. Just like getting nowhere with every stroke. So that's what I call beating up the water when you're swimming. So there you go. How are we looking now? All right, so it looks like we had some questions coming in. Ryan says at SOCOM Athlete, I was exposed to treading as we passed weighted rifles around. I had issues with this, even though I've been deep water lifeguard for 15 years. Yeah, you know, that's where it usually comes. You know, you've done scuba diving, you've done lifeguarding and all this stuff, and you think, yeah, treading's easy. And then you do it, it's the next level. I'm telling you. Another quick question from Luke says, I'm currently consuming 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Nothing wrong with that. Should I increase 1 gram per pound? Am I missing out on gains from having that protein? It's up to you. Are you trying to gain weight? Then I probably would add more calories to that. If you're lifting weights pretty hard, you need the extra few grams of protein then do it. There's nothing wrong. The window, or I should say the spectrum of protein is anywhere from, zero point 0.8 to well over 1 gram, right? So, um, I've definitely seen like 200-pound dudes do 200 grams, so it's a lot, but if you need it and you're working out hard, then do it. If you don't need it and you're not trying to gain weight, then probably keep it a little lower, but get it in um, if you need to. Is a CSS supposed to be covert? The high elbow and the head pull out will get you in a dangerous situation in that case. Yeah, but here's the deal. It's really just for the entry exam, and we're trying to instill, like, hey, this is different. You don't want to learn how to swim freestyle. You're going to want to learn how to do this. Chances are you're going to be on scuba and you're not surface swimming anywhere. But in that occasion where you might be surface swimming in, like off a boat for the last couple 100 yards, yeah, you want to keep it low. You got your fins on, you got your all your gear on, and whenever you're carrying all your gear, I promise you, you're probably not even using your arms, so your arms aren't going to be coming out of the water. You're probably just holding on to everything and just kicking. So, in those situations where we talk about being covert, chances are you're not going to be swimming for a yard per second, wearing a swim trunk and going into the beach. You got all your stuff going on and you're dragging that, and last thing you're really worried about is your arm recovery because you're probably not using your arms anyway. But it is a good lesson for um, people who are preparing to join this activity, um, or this community, is learn the mindset of what you're really doing. So that's really what it's for. Yeah. And remember, this was created way back when, there was a UDT, underwater demolition team. They were doing a lot of beach reconnaissance and things like that. So there it mattered more. Um, but they would just do it on scuba primarily. I would. I wouldn't have my guys out there swimming around. We'd be underwater subsurface the whole time, not making any bubbles. Good morning, sir. Meant to send my video in for today. Where can I submit a CSS video? If you send it to my Instagram and just DM me, Stu Smith Fitness, Stu Smith 50, I can pick it up there, and I'll see it pop up actually. So because I have Instagram open as well. All right, let's see. Let's move on. How many miles a week at Navy SEAL training? Also, how many miles in a normal day? I have no idea. Every Navy SEAL in Hell Week, it's all over the place. I've heard anywhere from 80 to 100 miles in that week. Some people said more. I don't know. Um, I would say in a normal day, you're on your feet a lot, but are you really running? That's the thing. You'll do 4 mile timed runs, you'll do beach runs. You won't do those on the same day. But you'll run to and from chow, which some days that's longer than others. Used to be further away. Um, but you may not run. It may be a shuffle. It may be a walk if you're on time. So it varies so much that I can't give you an answer on that. But if you're used to running and being on your feet all day, that's the key. right? Even if you're not running, but you're on your feet all day doing some kind of work, you're not sitting down for hours at a time on your feet. That's where the grind gets you, because you do your 4 mile runs, you go on a obstacle course, you do a swim, you do some swim training, you're in a classroom for a little bit, and then you go riding the boats for a little while. That's you're just busy, right? And you just got to learn to stay busy, right? Idle time. There's no idle time in Hell Week. You might get a bathroom break, but that's it. And you got meals. Every time else, you're standing up doing something. Either you're working out or you're preparing the equipment to go work out, which is busy work. There's evidence that the body absorbs like 40 grams per day max. I was a bodybuilder, used to do 100 grams, so it was wasteful. Yeah, I mean, I've read that too. I've also read conflicting studies to that. So, be honest with you, Ryan, I'm not sure. I one of the unique things about the science of and physiology training and things like that is there will be a study that disproves another study that everybody does and sees great results with. But mainly because it's not optimal, right? Is it optimal? Maybe in this group it was not optimal. Maybe they're misreading the study a little bit and it's with 50-year-old people instead of 18-year-old people. So I think, you know, keep doing your research. We can only get smarter with this, and that's why there's such a big range for um, these types of recommendations for food intake and what you're doing activity wise to balance that out. Any clarification on steel pier evolution? Well, I will tell you this: you're wet the entire time, and if you're not in the water, you're laying down on a cold steel pier, probably getting a hose full of water in your face and all over you. And depending on the time of year, that hose water is warmer than the bay water, so it doesn't actually feel that bad. Um, it's always cold, though. You're just cold. And you get a wind going while you're laying on that steel pier. That's next level cold. A lot of people quit steel pier just because it's so cold. Are dumbbell squats part of your routine? Yeah. Dumbbell and kettlebell squats and RDLs. I'll do those a lot. If so, what's your preferred hand position? Rack, sides, goblet. All three. I do all three. I put side by side with two. I'll put a rack with two kettlebells, and I'll do a single goblet squat. I'll do a single dumbbell sometimes if it's big enough. But yeah, I do all three of them. I like all three of them. And then I'll take those, after a good set of, RDLs or squats with a dumbbell in my hand or two dumbbells in my hand, is I'll walk them up and down stairs 3 rounds and, get a little farmer walk with some extra leg activity in it. So, yeah, they're great exercises. 36 miles a week plus work for 3 months, good for Bud's prep. Yeah, 36 is in the range. I would say we're usually in between, I would say in between 35 and 45, somewhere. I do have some guys that are less than 30, and they have done fine as well. So it really kind of varies on you and really your durability. Some of the bigger guys, I may push them a little, um, push them a little faster so they can meet the standards well versus put a lot of volume on them. Whereas some of the smaller guys, I'll still do the same, um, but I will mix in some durability training more so than higher mileage. So really kind of depends on the person. If I see somebody who needs more volume in their running, we'll add more volume. But I don't think there's a one size fits all recommendation for running. Some people say 50 miles a week, some people say 40, some people say less than 20. I think it's, if you want to really be healthy, is somewhere in the middle of 25 and 50. So we usually go 35. And I've written an article about that. So you can read how much you should run before Bud's selection, Stu Smith. Let me see. I might be able to show another video here. Somebody just said they sent one in. Let me see if I got it. Yeah, Goggins runs 100 to 150. Yeah, that, but Goggins isn't going through Buds again. So, um, don't recommend it. Here's the problem. You run too much, you lose a level of durability that you may need for load bearing. If you run too little, you lose a level of conditioning that you may need to meet the standard of running 4 mile timed runs. I've seen people on both ends of that spectrum not meet the standard or get injured because they just weren't durable enough to handle the mileage that they were doing. All right, so I got one more video somebody just sent. So this is my first time seeing this. So let's see what we got. All right, so grab this, make it a little bigger. You guys see that? All right, good. Streamline. Wow, I like that. So when you, hang on. Let me fix that volume. Okay, so first, let's look at that streamline. Check this out. Boom. Like you see that right there? I mean, that is tight. You got your biceps on your ears, your head's down, and look how far he glides. Like he's up at those yellow marks without doing the breaststroke pullout, which is perfect. And all he did, you notice he didn't kick. Like, look at this. No flutter kicking, just sitting there, gliding. He just got like 8 yards off the wall with no movement other than one kick off the wall. So great kickoff. Great start to this swim. So top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. Looks like we got a good glide here. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Boom. Yeah, man. I got nothing on this. Excellent kickoff. Nice stroke right up on that yellow marker. Top arm, bottom arm, kick, hold that glide. Nice. Yeah, man. What time you got here? This is I need to make this a little bigger so I can see the time. All right, let's see what happened. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so you kick off at 3 and then you touch at 50. So yeah, that's really good. And so reason why I had to do that is because this is a 54-second video, but you spent 3 seconds at the beginning and 2 to 3 seconds at the end running the video without swimming. So that puts you at like a 48, maybe 49-second 50. And that's great. I think it's great. I mean, if you do the math on that, that's under a yard per second. That's probably going to put you close to 8-minute swim. So if you're not swimming an 8-minute right now, it's because of conditioning, not your technique. So that was excellent technique. Now just get in shape to hold it for 500 and you got yourself an 8-minute swim. And the best way we get in shape to hold it for 500 yards is do the 50-50 swim workout. 50 free hard, 50 CSS, catch your breath, minimal rest on the in between sets, and you got it go. Somebody asked, should you fin every day? No, we don't fin every day. We fin on leg days. So about twice a week. Sometimes, depending if we got a big cardio day, we may top it off with a fin as well. So 2 times a week at the most. And we don't go crazy. You know, we're not doing like 2 miles, 3 miles of swimming with fins. We're just swimming 2,000, maybe 2,500 one day, and then 2,000, 2,500 the next day. We might take off 2,500, or sorry, we may take off 500 and turn that into a 10-minute tread with fins instead. Once again, it's vertical swimming. You know, I typically will count any 10 minutes of treading as 500 yards of swimming, whether you are swimming with fins or without fins. That's how. And, you know, if you're trying to get it done in an hour, you can get that done in an hour easy. Stu, do you have any tips for not getting sick at buds and SFAS? Yeah, that's a tough one, man. My advice is just understand how flu germs and bacteria travel, right? They travel a lot in inside your meeting places, in gyms, classrooms, um, cafeterias, you know, whatever. Just make sure you're washing your hands and you're not doing what I'm doing right here, like rubbing my nose with my fingers or sticking your fingers in your mouth or rubbing your eyes. You know, try to get a lot better at um, keeping your hands away from your face, unless you're washing your hands and you clean your face, do whatever, but don't touch your hands with, or don't touch your face with dirty hands, because that's usually how things get in, right? You touch something, put them in your nose, your mouth, and you're sick. Now, if it's in the water and people are swimming in sewage that um, comes up from Tijuana, which is still a problem, been a problem since I was there. You know, there's only so much you can do. Just you know, something I used to do is kept my mask on all the time when I was in the water swimming, like for miles, and then really worked hard at not getting any water in my mouth. That's easier said than done, but you got to really work at not getting stuff in your mouth. And what I would do is right after a swim is wash it out with like, Listerine or something like that, just in case I could, kill something in my mouth that was still there. Whatever you do, don't swallow it. So, all right, let's see what else we got. Hey, Stu, for athletes that have not been swimmers for their whole life, do you think we need to get on a swim team level condition or in the water? No, you don't. In fact, majority of the people I coach are non-swimming athletes going to various schools that require swimming, diving, treading, all those underwater skills and everything. So you can do it with, just programs like this, that focuses on PST, IFTs, treading water, swimming with fins. You can get in swimming shape really well. You just got to learn how to swim. That's why these videos I think are so popular, is that people really uh, can pick up good and bad from these CSS video critiques. And if you take a video, have somebody walk alongside you swimming for 50 yards, and then you have that video on your phone, and then go and compare it to some of these, especially my good ones, and you'll see um, where you're messing up personally. And then if you still can't figure it out, send it to me. I'm happy to tell you. But yeah, swim conditioning. Look, here's the deal. You don't need to be on a swim team to go to buds, period. You need to be competent. You need to be water confident. And you just need to not freak out when you're underwater. I've seen some swimmers fail the dive phase of it, because they weren't comfortable underwater like that. So swim teams aren't the answer. I participated in a swim team lesson. They had the most insane stamina in the water. Go into buds. Do you have to be a swim team? No, you don't. I think you asked that question already. In fact, here's the problem. If you spend all your life swimming and you didn't spend it doing activities inside gravity, like lifting and running, who are the first people that get shin splints and foot pain and knee tendonitis? That's swimmers, because they're just not used to hitting the ground with any force. So, you have, if you're a swimmer, you still have a significant amount of training to do outside the pool. If you're a land athlete, you have a significant amount of training to do inside the pool. That's just how it works. So everybody has a weakness. You need to focus on your weakness. And no one athlete has the same journey. Everybody needs to focus on a little bit of something. Is CSS as important as freestyle for diver? Yes. You need to know the CSS to get to dive school. Let's see. How much importance do you place grip strength, and what methods do you use to train grip? I mentioned it a little bit. We do a lot of farmer walks. We do a lot of hanging, pull-ups and deadlifts, rope climbs, rope pulls. Like we'll put a rope to a sled and pull it, and you're only hanging on with your grip. You're not wrapping it around you. So yeah, we do all that stuff. Grip is very important. How long is the average workout for trying to get the PST numbers? Is there such a thing as working out too long or too little? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we usually, like for instance, we did a perfect PST workout today, and it is the classic pull up, push up, sit up, 110-1 pyramid, and we ran 400 meters every set. That's 19 400-meter runs at goal pace, and that took us an hour and a half to do. And then we're going to go swim this afternoon doing something similar with a 500 warm up, 10 50-50s mixed with some treading if you need it, or extra push ups and flutter kicks on the pool deck in between sets. So we're doing a swim PT again later. So yeah, if you put those two together, we've gotten about an hour and a half plus 45 minutes to an hour. So you got to put in the time, if you ask me. I'm a swimmer. I'm battling shin splints and knee tendonitis right now from all the running. Yeah, that's the way it works. Don't start running too soon with too much. Treat yourself like a beginner runner, because you're going to need it. Get good shoes. Learn how to run right. There's a whole lot of ways to build up your running, and jumping into somebody's running program that isn't personally designed for you is not the way to do it, especially if you're a swimmer. Swimmers probably need to start off with like 1 mile a day, every other day, maybe for the first few weeks, and then build up to 1 mile a day, 5 days a week. After that, you can probably, and you're not having any pain after a month, you can probably start adding in like 10 to 15% increases each day. So that's how we do it. All right, I run 36 miles plus 80 push-ups, 80 sit-ups, 25 pull-ups, and swim 10 by 100 links every day. I don't know why you're doing that, but Sunday that's good enough, or do I need to lift? My friend just left for Buds, and he did finning a lot. I think you're missing out on a lot of stuff by just focusing on your calisthenics. 36 miles a week, not bad. That's good range. You need to swim with fins. You don't need to swim with fins every day. You need a leg day in there. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe go do this every other day and do leg days on the days in between. But yeah, if you can't lift, you're weak. So overhead presses, squats, deadlifts don't have to be like world class levels, obviously, but you need to be able to do your body weight 1.5 times your body weight. If you can build up to 2 times your body weight, that's even better, especially on like squats. 1.5 times body weight is sufficient for reps, not a 1 rep max. So, love Zoom. What you need to do is look into this, because if you're not assessing yourself, you're just guessing. And if you're doing daily calisthenics like that, That's not enough. And you don't need to do them every day anyway. Especially that's not even high volume. Our pull-up workout today was 150. We did 250 push-ups and 300 sit-ups, in along with 19 400s, which comes out to almost 5 miles. So that was our day today. But tomorrow, guess what we're going to do? Or yesterday, guess what we did? Legs. We ran hills. We did squats. We did lunges. We did fireman carries. Um, so get on a plan. Don't make up your own, because chances are you're just going to get really good at getting to buds, and hopefully you make it through buds. But if you're neglecting phase 2 of tactical fitness, your spec ops dreams may be shorter than you realize. 28-minute 4 mile single time is what I run. My 5 is around 34. Good. David Goggins runs 150 miles a week because he's an endurance runner. He gets in these races that are 200 miles long, and he runs for 24 straight hours accomplishing it. Oh, man. Different animals, man. Come on. Don't be doing stuff the people that aren't preparing for buds again, right? I mean, once you get into the teams, guess what? Your workouts don't look anything like this. You're not preparing for selection. You're preparing to do your job. You're going to lift more. You're going to run less. You're going to swim less. You're going to be working on your tactics. So don't get caught up in workouts that you find up on YouTube. Unless it specifically says these are guys preparing for selection. This is what we do. Many ways to do it. You don't have to follow my methods, but you need to understand that you're not preparing to get to and through training if you don't address the PST to get to and the specifics of buds or whatever selection you're doing to get through. Most people get caught up in that and they just do calisthenics and cardio and then wonder why they're getting crushed by a log. Sorry. All right. What program would you recommend for guys trying out for top full-time federal tactical teams like SRT, BORTAC, uh, FBI SWAT, HRT? Would SWAT program be okay? Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. I will tell you this, though. Every FBI SWAT guy and HRT guy that's come through here, we basically did this, minus the swimming. They didn't do the swimming part, but they did the seasonal tactical fitness periodization, which is a year-long program that works on everything, works on strength and speed and agility, works on power, works on muscle stamina and endurance, um, flexibility, mobility, grip. All of those are extremely important. And I would say some grip is even more important. Most of those SWAT teams and BORTAC and SRTs, they will be carrying around buckets of super heavy water or sand, and they got to get it from A to B, and their grip is on fire. So you got to have a monster grip. So do a lot of farmer walks because it's going to be what you're doing. Which one of your programs should I follow if I haven't decided Buds or Ranger SF? That's a tough one. I personally would go with like what I just showed you, like this one right here, where it's like a periodization plan, seasonal tactical fitness periodization. Because here's why: there's swimming involved in this, but there's also rucking involved in it. And if you wanted to, a lot of people who did the SEAL program that were going Army, they just took out the swimming and added rucking twice a week to the swims, or they added running to the swims or some other form of cardio. So They're going to be very similar in workouts, but you're just, you don't have to focus on the swimming, so you need to focus on something else. For Spec Ops Triathlon, can I wear a weight vest instead of a ruck? Sure, that's what we do. Also, I don't have access to a pool. Can I add in something else? Yeah, if you don't have access to a pool, um, replace swimming with biking or elliptical or something like that. What's the best route to Green Beret or Rangers? Joining the Army first, um, and then start the process. You know, but you should be training well before that. Most people who are um, going Green Beret or Rangers know before they leave that that's part of their training pipeline that's going to build them to that 18 X-ray. What's the Rangers? Option 40, I think. Yeah, I think it's option 40. Um, they know they're going to go to Ranger school after infantry. So start training. Start training for it. And then next thing you know, you're going to be, guided in that direction, your first 6 months in the Army and be able to prepare for those schools as well. Oh, let's see. Ryan's asking milligrams calcium, 1,000 milligrams vitamin C, use tablets. Yeah. Oh, you're talking probably to answer, uh, keep away from cold, immunity protection. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So let's see. I'm struggling with having my heart rate around 155, but my legs are dead and heavy. So my legs are giving out before my heart. Um, yeah, it happens. I mean, just start working on some calisthenics. Get some muscle stamina in those legs. Especially if it's running and rucking that's causing your legs to give out. That's what I would do. Check out the article called Run and Leg PT. Run and Leg PT, Stu Smith. This is how we do a lot of the training. You can also do bike too if you're messed up, like with running. Squats, lunges, calf raises. Check this out. This is a good article for you to read. And if you can't do it on running because your legs are hurt or whatever, do it with biking. But hard biking, not easy biking. I'm talking about high resistance biking that is putting a puddle of sweat under you because you're doing it hard. How important would you say is learning freestyle? I think it's important. I think it's a great conditioning tool in the water. In fact, we use freestyle as our conditioning tool, and then we learn the technique better for the CSS. So the workout 50-50 is a prime example where we'll do 50 meters free hard, like skip breathing, sprinting, get super winded, and then try to catch your breath with that next 50 CSS. Then you have minimal rest before you do that again. 50 free, 50 CSS. It's a great mix to build up your swimming conditioning, especially if you're a non swimming athlete that has none. um, Look, I love Jake. I'm not sure what his PDF is all about. I haven't seen it. Um, you do you. You make your decision. If you see it working, great. If you don't, you need a better plan. Do you have any experience with stress fractures from rucking running too much? Sure. Seen it happen often. Most people jump into running way too quickly, doing way too much, and they get stress fractures. That's usually what happens. And to be honest with you, it tends to be a non-running athlete that gets them. Hockey players, swimmers, um, what else? Um, Skaters, those type, that are used to zero impact will get those pretty quickly. weightlifters who are just big and lumbering, don't run. You know, heavier guys will get them for sure. However, I've seen younger guys do it. Usually it's a technique issue that can happen. Bad shoes, heel striking. If you're doing a lot of that, that can definitely lead to it. Let's see. Phase 1 and Phase 2 for Navy PST and BUDS. What do you recommend for these going to and through BUDS? Dude, man, I got all kinds of stuff for you. I want you to go to this page right here. In fact, I'm just going to share my page because I'm not sure if you're new to this, at what I do, but these right here, Phase 1, you guys see this? All right. So Phase 1, crush the PST, SEAL, SWIC, EOD, diver, rescue swimmer, SARC, PST. This is the Navy PST. It'll help you crush any of those fitness tests, which are all the same. Every one of these uses the same fitness test. 500-yard swim, pull up, push up, sit ups, mile and a half. It's the way it works. Okay. Crush this. That's Phase 1. You're going to get to the training with this program. You're going to get through the training with this one. And what's it say? Get through selection. Prep for specific events. What specific events, you might say? Well, there's simulations for logs. You got rucking, load bearing activities. You do fireman carries. There's weighted squats and lunges. There's chest carry lunges, to simulate log PT stuff. Bear crawling, running 4 miles, swimming 2 miles. All of those things are, treading, water skills, all of those things are in this. That's how we do it, right? And it works really well. What book or plan you think that I should get for Bud? I just showed you. StuSmithFitness.com. Check it out. Even have a Green Beret one. I guess it's up to me, but I'm 23. All berets seem older. Yeah. I mean, there's 23-year-olds going through BUDS and 23-year-olds going through Green Beret training, so I wouldn't sweat it too much. Usually, yeah, there's a lot of 18-year-olds that go to BUDS, but guess what? Count how many 18-year-olds are there after Hell Week, because it's unbelievable the attrition rate that occurs for a teenager between the first day of BUDS and the last day of Hell Week. Unbelievable, right? I remember starting off our class and I was like, damn, it's like everybody just graduated high school in here. We had almost 100 teenagers in our class. And then by the end of Hell Week, or by the end of BUDS, we had 28 graduate total, and I think about a handful of teenagers. So I think people go to BUDS way too young and ill prepared just because they don't know any better. But I'll be honest with you, 18 years old, I was stupid too. I wasn't listening to anybody. I went to the Naval Academy and failed sit-ups because I thought sit-ups were easy. So I understand, but there's no excuse in it. And a lot of people regret the decision of not preparing better, when they're 18 years old. Now, I've seen 18-year-olds become the honor man too. So that's impressive. That's next level. A couple more questions. For someone undecided on seasonal tactical fitness periodization or the increased strength crush the PFT, they're both the same. I mean, they're not the same workouts, but it's the same type of programming. It's this 3-to-1 block periodization where you do 3 weeks of lifting, 1 week of cals and cardio for the winter lift cycle. For this is the fall one, but there's a winter one, there's a spring one. They all do the same thing, but depending on the primary focus of that cycle, because there's 4 cycles, there's 4 different books. Depending on the primary focus of that cycle, what you do is you focus on 3 weeks of your primary issue that you want to get better. Power, strength, speed, agility, whatever that is. Endurance, muscle stamina. And then you spend 1 week on focusing on what you lack or maintaining what you're good at, right? Does that make sense? So what you just got out of, you're trying to maintain. So for instance, we're in week 8 of a winter lift cycle. We go 3 weeks cardio, or sorry, 3 weeks lifting, 1 week cows and cardio. And we are in week 8, so we're in a cows and cardio week. That's why I was telling you we do the pull up, push up, sit ups, run workout, because we're doing cows and cardio to maintain our cows and cardio from the previous cycles. And it works really well. And it gives us a little deload week from just lifting. Right. So now next week we'll go into a lift, finish off this lift cycle, and we'll start the spring where we start running, progressing. We're going to run our progress with our running. We're going to progress with our reps, decrease our weight. And by the time we finish spring and go into the summer, we're continuing on running. And that's when we get into our 35, 40 miles a week run cycle. We don't stay there year round. We hit that 40 miles a week and we hang out there for about a month, and then we start tapering it back down. Just as much as we tapered coming in, we're tapering it back down. So we'll go 38 and 36 and 30, over the next, part of the fall. So it just looks like a bell curve with our running mileage. And it works. Been doing it for 26 years now, not only for myself, but also for everybody I coach. And we have a lot of people get through selections, all types of selections, not just buds, everything from SWAT teams to, tier 1 units to, um, SEAL teams, Green Berets, PJs, recon, you name it, dive school, EOD, SWIC. That's what we do. I went through, I started in 180, went through Hell Week with 180, and then I graduated 182. I got rolled in third phase for an injury. Any technique articles for new runners to reduce stress fractures? I would just Google that, because there are countless articles out there. It might not be all done by me, but I do have a beginner running program is where I would set people up starting. Treat yourself like a beginner so you don't have those overuse injuries that pop up all the time. When do your students decide to go through selection? A lot of time when they're just ready. I tell people, don't have a deadline to go show up. Have a performance starting line on when you start the process to join the military. So build your performance up to these levels, which I've already shared in the comment section, the assessment tool that we use. You hit all those numbers, you're ready to start the process. And then you crush the PST on the first time you ever take it. You get the next ship date out and you're out of here. That's the way it works. I believe that's how I ended up with this, getting a BSI. How long would how long you would recommend staying at peak weekly mileage before tapering back down? We usually hang out there for, put it this way, the top of a bell curve is like 2.5 months, right? So you get up there like 36, 38, 40, hang out there for a little bit, then come back down 36, 38, 36, 40, yeah, or 34. So you're up there for high volume of running for a couple of months. You're just not trying to push that number over and over again. You want to get comfortable with certain level. You get certain level of volume, like say 25, and then get good at 25 a week, getting faster. Then start ramping it back up. Get up to 30. Get good at running 30 for a month, getting faster at that distance. Ramp it up. That way you can kind of not worry about the typical overuse injuries that occur by people just blindlessly adding 15, 20% or more even every week. So there you go. All right. So I think I've gone way over my normal time. So I see there's a lot more questions here. I appreciate all these questions. I'm not going to be able to get to all these today. So what I want you to do is email me your question if I missed it. Stu@stewsmith.com. I appreciate you guys sticking around. I just don't have time to answer the other 15, 20 questions that just popped up. So email them to me. And if I see them in the comment section, I'll put them in the comment section over here on YouTube whenever this video uploads. So if you missed some of the video over here on Instagram and Facebook, come over to YouTube. It's up there as my latest live post. You can see the CSS critiques and all these questions, and I'll start commenting in the comment section to them. So anyway, I gotta go. I appreciate your time. Go check out StuSmithFitness.com. I got answers to whatever program you're trying to do, pretty much. And if you don't specifically see it, just ask, because I've had people, join our programs and do these programs and get through various selections that I didn't specifically write about as well, like BORTAC and FBI SWAT and all those. So just send me an email. Happy to walk you through it if you need it. Also, if you go to StuSmithFitness.com, you save 15% by using the live 15 coupon code. I appreciate you sticking around this long. Use that coupon, save some money. I'll chat with you later. You guys have a good one.